Howdy, 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 this is JL in front of the Weekly Shonen Nonsense for December 10th, 2023. Let's have some holly jolly comics. One Piece, Chapter 1101. Or should I say this is Chapter 13? Anyway, this is mostly a Bonnie-centered chapter for the backstory bit, though we do begin with Kuma at Dawn Island somehow. Yeah, apparently he just kind of went there and looked at Luffy and then left. It's sort of implied that he went there just to confirm that, yeah, Dragon does have a son, because Dragon kind of let slip that he might have had a kid. So Kuma knows that Luffy is Dragon's kid and, knows that connection, and I think that kind of moves forward with history. And of course, being true to himself, he does write letters to Bonnie, which he's never able to read because the absolute terror that is Alpha, who I want to harm, most definitely, for apparently tearing up every single letter that was sent to Bonnie, immediately never letting her read it, never letting her know that they exist. And Bonnie, for essentially a year and a half, is unable to stay in contact with her father, to the point where she becomes 9 years old and hears no word from Kuma whatsoever. And being the nicest old lady you'd ever meet, Connie notes, yeah, this seems suspicious, so you've been cured for a while. Let's have you head out to sea and find your dad. Find him and figure out what's going on. So Connie then allows Bonnie to wear her clothes and walk out to her ship, or a ship there that was prepared that looks like a pizza. That's nice. Alpha chasing after her, where Bonnie then pulls an amazing feat by transforming into a Nika-like future where she punches Alpha in the face, knocking her out, sending her flying, and leaving on the ship, becoming a pirate. Becoming wanted by the government, mostly because, she's a hostage that ran away. Which, yeah, again, it's perfect use of how propaganda works in this series. More of the world is essentially seeing it through the eyes of the world government's take on it rather than what it really is. She is a hostage to keep Kuma in line rather than being a, evil pirate. And her bounty is reflected of her just getting picked up and grabbed and put back into place in order to maintain their control on Kuma, though by the point of the series we see that's already too far gone. She's more or less a liability. They're only keeping her alive for the sake of an old promise, which they don't really intend to keep. Again, great chapter. We did have a little bit of a moment with Kuma in the middle, with Stussy kind of showing up, kind of asking the question of what is free will, which was neat, and fun for the series, and also great color spread, by the way, which also leads into the fact we're getting colors for the characters that we're going to be seeing in the anime soon, which I'm more or less surprised by. A little out of place for the manga review series, but I do want to mention the anime. I really, really wish they had some kind of maybe short filler series showing up here, mostly because, we just got off of Wano. We really don't need to go straight into Egghead Island here. We can give it a month or two to let it breathe a bit and let the manga, spread itself out a little more so we can, get more material and have better pacing for this next arc, because, whoo boy, I don't want Egghead Island to be ruined by the anime pacing being just all over the place. Shadow Eliminators, Chapter 2. I'm going to be a little more blunt here with this. This was fairly uninspired. Yeah, it wasn't really expressed very much in the last week with the rush day, but Shadow Eliminators, it's not only generic, it's sort of boring. Like, the art's great, it is visually well drawn, but the problems kind of come up with the narrative as well as the scenario. The character designs are great, in it that they are well conceived, though a little bit generic in their own creation, especially with, just kind of looked up this Kento character, and while his two one-shots prior seem to have the same general value for the main character, black-haired kid with hoodie, this doesn't get helped by the genericness of the story kind of around it. Get a good like little back and forth him and his newest ally, but for the most part, it's sort of bland. Generally, this chapter is about like they're trying to get a club together for Shadow Eliminators. They run into a drama senpai who apparently has his own weird drama with his dad, question mark. Like, a guy walks away from the performance, says, yeah, it's not what I expected, and sort of, I guess, might be his dad because it's been a while and they've been feeling this way. And then this thing called a kasane, I had to look it up again, appears and starts causing trouble. So, main boy comes in, does his thing, and then, starts damaging the gym. But so in order to stop that, the other guy inadvertently brought over a barrier device to conceal the fight inside the barrier so that they don't damage the outside world. And then, with slaying the Kasane spirit thing, then the fight ends. The drama kid wakes up and they invite him to the Shadow Eliminators, implying that he'll be a part of the main cast. And I'm looking at this going, this feels like a Sailor Moon plot. Something evil inside a human spirit causes a monster to manifest, and it's up to our heroes to come in, sort their problem out by destroying the evil part of them, and then at the end making friends with the person. Very early Sailor Moon stuff. And without any of the, feminist subtext or, interesting character design or creative paneling or really, really, really gorgeous shoujo art. I'm just saying, this is just generic in the worst ways possible. Again, it looks good, but looking good with very little substance, and as well as some weird paneling choices. There is just moments where characters will just warp scenes to different locations for no adequately explained reason. There's no reason why they go from the hallway to the roof to have a conversation. There's no point to it outside of just showing that there's a skybox in this universe that exists, rather than just having the conversation right there. What was the point of going onto the roof? Were they being accosted by people? No, it's just that that's where the scene needs to be now. So there's a sort of warping that's happening, and that feels a little off. It doesn't make it visually make sense. This world doesn't feel natural quite yet, and maybe it also feels like the main writer here, Kento, is trying to maybe give us this perspective that this is a world that's been lived in, and we're kind of just enjoying the story as right now. We're supposed to have a perspective character, but even he's sort of inside this universe already. I don't know. I'm hit and miss on this until it gets a real big hook. I'm just gonna call it a weaker form of Nue's Exorcist. It's not offensive. It's not Cypher Academy to me, but it's definitely not something that has much staying power. I hope it does better, but it doesn't look too good. Green Green Greens, Chapter 3. I feel like I get most of my enjoyment out of the series just reading its name. Anyway, so Haku joins the golf center thing as an employee here, and so he can get free golfing, practice in this golf thing. And he does okay at it. He's, a pretty dedicated worker, learns pretty quickly. But of course, Nadeshiko is completely disgusted by the event. My god, her faces are just pure disgust, and I love it. He then also meets some of his fellow employees, like Kikui, the shit starter, as I named him, and Hagio. Yeah, Hagio. A, brash and big-mouthed golfing enthusiast who's totally in love with Nadeshiko. And, keeps wanting to challenge Haku, even though, Haku's, just wants to play golf because he's a simple-minded main character. Give him time. Of course, this shows that he, puts on the glove he was given and has apparently worn a hole in it, over the course of a week. He's been hitting balls like nobody's business. So, of course, this angers Hagio for obvious reasons. How dare you get a glove from my crush and not tell me? Uh, and of course, there's also the ire of the customer base who's just seeing him playing and sucking at the game and making fun of him. Which then Nadeshiko goes and supports him. Like, no, 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 no. You're not allowed to just make fun of our employees like that. That's not cool. Hagio, ignoring any goodwill, decides, no, no, no. This is the final straw. You've already been stealing my girl. You're also like making her support you and give you things. Screw that. I want to face you in a battle. And of course, being the nice main character, Haku's like, yeah, I guess I'll join your challenge. So, next chapter is going to be maybe a short bout of hitting balls with the stick. Golf needs something more exciting. I might be influenced by Birdie Wing here, but I'd like to see some more silly nonsense to this. This is Shonen Jump, where the place where ki blasts can destroy planets and rubbermen can like punch dragons and like ninjas can summon giant frogs. We can spice up golf a little bit here. It's like not impossible to have maybe golf stands or some weird maneuver you do to like make the ball go farther or just not suck at the game. I mean, golf in general is just a boring sport anyway. It's a PvP game with PvE option or PvE settings. Like there's no real benefit to golf as a setting unless you're doing something weird with it. So, not bad, but it could be better. 2 on Ice, Chapter 12. Talk about a forgetful chapter. I mean, where am I again? Oh, right. So, we cut to the beginning of this chapter with the main character being cut. Apparently, he's been working out a lot, eating only chicken, and has gained a pretty muscular body. To help deal with his upper body problems when he's going to be working with his partner, doing partner moves, which we actually get a bit of a preview of in this chapter. Mostly just guy throwing girl. So, but before we start tossing women around, we have to first learn how to partner spin, and then the realization of this chapter comes in. Yeah, our two main characters are middle school kids, meaning touching someone of the opposite sex when you're heterosexual is really unnerving and embarrassing. And, the guy gets really kind of uncomfortable because he doesn't know how to touch a girl. Meanwhile, the girl's like, how dare you view me as a possible sex object? Ew, gross. They then come together at the end of the chapter, like going, okay, maybe I can get over my, gross feeling and, hold your hand for a bit. Yeah. Lewd. Anyway, the chapter then ends with the realization, we need like an actual like other partner group to kind of compare them to, so we got a pair of exes. And by exes, I mean they once dated and broke up 3 months prior to this story. So, lovely. She seems to be completely unenthused by the entire event. Meanwhile, the guy is horrifyingly depressed and seems to be unbearably annoyed by how she dresses. So, the song She Said comes to mind. Well, actually, not She Said. It's For No One. That's it. I know my Beatles, and I know my Revolver. So yeah, it's alright. Yeah, still feels a bit too wordy, and yeah, a little bit too explanation heavy, especially for something that's supposed to be about, the beauty that is, ice ballet. Kagurabaji, Chapter 13. Alright, so this is an action-heavy chapter. I'll keep the summary a bit brief. We, of course, get a little rundown of Cloud Gouger, its moves, its water move, its wind move, and its lightning move, and how they can correspond with each other and be used in tandem, and how to deal with him overall. He didn't handle himself, Sojo, against all 5 or 6 of the members here, and eventually he does go out for the big move, the big swing move, and it turns out that's actually what they wanted. Chihiro basically noting, yeah, you probably want him to like use Mei because that's going to make him vulnerable for a little bit, meaning you can get an attack off on him. So of course that's exactly what happens. So Sojo is now on the back foot, dealing with all this nonsense in front of him. Meanwhile, Chihiro is getting information about where Char is and going to get her. Hang out in the rafters, looking a lot like an evil Batman. And the end of the chapter kind of gives us a little note where, yeah, the swords are, cast and made, but then they're formed, their personalities, from the wielders themselves. Sort of implying that Chihiro is slowly building a dark justice into his blade. Quite menacing feeling form of him. I'm really interested in seeing if this turns into a cursed blade situation. I don't think it's really obvious from my own readings of this, but Kagurabachi's been really good. Like, really good. It's a mix of Bleach and Chainsaw Man with its, like, sword-based powers mixed with this world of evil doers that kind of mimics this somewhat different society that is foreign from our world, just similar enough to live in. But otherwise, those are good elements, and this really shows that it's a fairly fun plot line. I haven't really been disappointed, especially when it gets dark. It's dark in a reasonable adult way that doesn't show anything, but it still implies a lot, and that's a lot of good writers struggle with this too. So I'm loving it. I'm hoping this survives. I really do hope it gets that anime adaptation that gives us that great like Mappa style stuff. Hopefully Mappa cleans up their act by that point, but you live in hope. Mono Yuyu, chapter 14. Color cover. Anyway, now it's the aftermath of the Rolf situation. Rolfred's temper tantrum has ended, and the battle has ceased. So everyone's, rested up, apologized, well, to each other, but not to the people who are really important, the ones they've hurt. Buildings being destroyed are being covered by the actual government. Meanwhile, the local economy and the dining and dashing incidents are being handled by the actual heroes and demon lord we have. We get a bit of an explanation on sigils, thanks to Rolf explaining what a mother sigil is to Corleo while they're running around stopping dogs from attacking children. And the actual dead is being overwritten thanks to an ad hoc made idol concert by Alicia and Minerva. So, actually, through this as well, we discover that Escaba, the demon lord we fought, 5 chapters ago, is actually the same demon lord of Rolf's world. So, hey, we've got a built-in conflict here. As well as, unfortunately, a surprise attack. Yes, apparently Gracia is going, need that power now, and just throws all of his demon lords at the situation. Or at least I think they're all of his demon lords. One of them is a furry, so that could go either way. Any which way, we get introduced to one of them at the very end of the chapter, Captula, or Cuptula, I think, however you pronounce that, who is actually the demon lord, or supposed demon lord, of Alicia. So we're going to get some more Alicia content. So that's nice. It's an alright chapter. Paneling's still pretty good. The art is, maintaining itself for the most part. Keeping action pretty simple. And this one is being a little more low key. Doesn't have a lot of bombastic angles, so the artist isn't killing himself quite yet. But alright, I'd say it's passable for a chapter. Liking that color cover means good things. It means at least a second volume, so good on it. Martial Master Asumi, chapter 25. Sing out your stress. So yeah, apparently, having realized that he's going to be facing down a middle-aged man and possibly ruining his career, Nito's a little frazzled by the entire situation. So now, being a good friend, I guess, brings him to karaoke, sings out her worries, and then kind of explains her own backstory to him. Now, in Nao's backstory, or is it now, then, and Nao's backstory? Anyway, we discover how she actually broke her arm before the beginning of the series, where she had seems to have gotten into a fight with a Legend of Legends daughter. Okome, who was just a righteous bitch, walks into a gym, starts talking trash, and then challenges Nao to a fight. And Nao, being a little inexperienced, takes the fight a bit too seriously, doesn't tap out at the right time, and loses the arm for it. And this then shows her own motivation to go pro is to fight Okome again, and prove that she could have beaten her, But this whole broken arm thing was a fluke. So now Nito's own resolve is restored because he's like, yeah, I might be beating up an old man and ruining his life, but that's what we all are here for. And hey, I'm for him. Meanwhile, we get a cutaway to Ayako, the Ojo-sama from the last few chapters, who it reveals that she was going to fight one person, but due to some circumstances, that fight has been postponed. So she's getting a new opponent, and that opponent is Now. So now we have a fight card between Nito and the Workhorse, and Now versus the preppy pretty princess. So overall, wait, hold on a second. Is it 20XDX? Huh. Does that mean the Reploids rise up later this series? And that'll be for later. Next time is going to be more of a Now-centered story, which is nice. I mean, Now was sort of sidelined for the last arc, being relegated to not even being there, just kind of like listening in and watching. So seeing her actually being more of a participant in the story is good. So next time will be more of a Now thing. Or then will be. Or, I mean, it was Now before, Now is Now, but then will be Now, or then is Now, and then New A's Exorcist, Chapter 30. So who wants to go on a hike? Yeah, apparently our team is going on a mission out into the mountains in order to go to one place that they can't go to unless they're, led by a captain of a squad. So Gakuro must go with his team of Shiroha, Suo, and the new Shitotsu. And then, of course, Shitotsu, being a shit starter, decides to ask the obvious question of, who are you going to choose to go out on a date with, Gakuro? Gakuro going, wait, hold on a second, what are you talking about? We're just friends. We're just friends. She's like, what? You don't like them or anything? Like, he's not like that. They're just going to reject me. And she's like, so you're scared, huh? He's like, I'm not scared. Immediately has a nightmare about being forced to choose. So, yeah. They get there, and Gakuro is a nervous mess, being uncharacteristically aware of his surroundings and scenario, based off of the whole, him being a harem protagonist. He shouldn't be so aware of his own emotional state. And in fact, he's even forced to hold hands and is amazingly awkward because of it. I mean, mostly holding hands before marriage, lewd. Any which way, the chapter then culminates in a wonderful scene involving a waterfall. Yes, apparently the place they need to go to is behind a waterfall, meaning everybody in swimsuits. And how convenient, all their swimsuits are just coming off. Oh, and look, a monster attack. Shitotsu decides to hold them off, meaning that Gakuro has to huddle up in a dark, damp, wet cave with his two crushes both topless. Yep, the horror. Man, I enjoy having a harem series actually admit to itself, yeah, I'm a harem series. I can do dumb shit like this. I mean, yeah, this is pretty much a fun, basic scenario. Now, I have heard some people going, oh wow, Shitotsu is like talking about other girls with her brother. That means she doesn't really have any emotional feelings towards him, right? Don't trust that shit. This is Shonen Jump, by the way. They have done harem series before, and they've pulled dirtier shit than this. I've read To Love Ru. You know you've read To Love Ru. This shit is not going to be any different. There's going to be a moment where Shitotsu like, but my feelings for my totally not related by blood brother. Yeah, this is going to be some silly nonsense. But hey, it's good to have some silly nonsense every so often. My Girlfriend Gives Me Goosebumps, Chapter Extra. So in this extra little chapter, we get a snapshot into Rinko's head during their conversation last chapter, where Rinko finally realizes she's been sort of inadvertently dating Haruka the entire time. Like, she's gone to different date spots with him in various different ways, shapes, and forms. Now, granted, the only thing she really hasn't done with him is gone to the movies or gone shopping with him. So, basically they've been dating this entire time, behind everyone's back. Which kind of also links to what Kiseki said earlier, where she's like, totally cheat on my boyfriend for me. Either way, cute little mini thing here. Definitely feels like this is running towards the wrap up because, everyone's talking about the big next event and, the culmination and what, like he's trying to do versus what everyone wants him to do, avoiding the unaliving thing. So, either way, fun, wrapping up being a really relative term for a series that's been bi-weekly for a while, or semi-weekly, depending on how you want to say it. So, it's fine. Fine. Kill Blue, Chapter 33. Oh my god, everyone's dead! Tired. So, apparently working out a whole bunch for a middle schooler causes you to, deteriorate into a mess on the floor. Except if you're really young. Yeah, apparently everybody but the first years are stuck in their rooms or stuck slowly crawling out of their rooms, leaving Ogami and Norin, and Shin for a lesser extent, to go to the beach alone to practice. Which becomes awkward because, of course, Norin's last little realization that she might be in love with Ogami makes her a little bit more obvious about her feelings, which Ogami immediately picks up on and goes, well, shit, I might have done the wrong thing by cultivating this relationship the way I have. Norin's been more comfortable with me, and now with current events and the whole, scare involving the romance thing, she might actually pursue this, and I don't need this right now. I'm a middle-aged man with a family. Oh, God. So they, of course, go out surfing, and surfing kind of takes priority over the whole romance thing because they suck at it. And of all people, Shin is really, really good at it. And then a montage happens. Now, of course, during this montage, Oto-chan, the better, gooder, positive, less abrasive personality of Mai, comes out to cheer them on. Apparently, Oto-chan really doesn't care for her other half's aggressiveness and decision-making, and is sort of cheering on Noren because she wants to get one up on her other personality. Neat. Anyway, the day wraps up, and of course the teacher decides to take them all on a trip over to the school, where she gives them some supplies and says, you are going to be patrolling the school and trying to make as zero noise as possible, because if you make any noise, I'll come at you with a punal to the butt. This teacher is threatening them to play an expert version of the quiet game with threat of spanking. The PTA needs to be called upon her right away. So, either way, good chapter overall. It is a little unnerving that we're getting Ogami's romance with Norin kind of saddle up with Norin realizing her own emotional experience or expression, and Ogami kind of responding to that. Still gross that it's like an old man that she's saddling up with, so you squick, but at the same time, like, there's clearly going to be some kind of explanation, like maybe she sees him as a father figure later on, and then Usagi drop happens. No, I'm doomsaying here at this point. So again, good stuff. Cypher Academy, Chapter 52. What, you want me to sound enthused about this? You know this series, it's all sucks. By the way, where the fuck are we? Yeah, apparently this chapter starts out with us being in a virtual plane with, of all people, Goggles Girl and Anonymous, and one of the bag chicks. So, bag chick then, challenges them to a game of Reversey, but instead of black and white tiles, we're going to be using coins, and our real, win thing is, putting down enough coins and earning enough money through the coins. It's real dumb. And this kind of leads me to a rant. So, during this entire story arc, there's been like this weird Greek choir of Kogoe and two others who I don't care to remember their names, kind of observing from some kind of weird observation deck, making absolutely no sense. This feels like it's just a writer, like, writing a story, but not understanding how comics and most stories that are good work. So these characters are kind of observing every single event and commenting on every single one of them. This one, Kogo is like, like splurging herself, squirting all over the floor for all these coins, until one moment where the bad girl pulls out a morgue coin from her head and puts it on the board, claiming that the morgue is going to supersede all the other cash. I put this down, I basically automatically win as long as this coin is in my favor. And Kogwe then utters something beyond me. She says, "Wait, how does she know about the more currency?" And my immediate thought is, what the fuck are you talking about? Why the fuck do you think we're here then? No, seriously, Kogwe, legitimately questions how this girl knows that Morg exists when this entire expedition down into these Cypher Academy crypto mines is to find this stupid shit in the first place, to unearth it and ruin the economy. They all know about it. And what's worse is she's surprised by this in a school full of code crackers and hackers. So, who would have told her? She doesn't need to. She just cracks and spies on people. This is a school of spies, you stupid moron. How the fuck did you, survive half of this, thinking that, you're the only bastion of this information, as well as you're the one who leaked it in the fucking first place? You were telling everybody in Class A, and now somehow someone from a different class knows about this? This thing that they're going in to grab in the first place? Fucking hell. This is just unbelievably stupid. For fuck's sake, no, that's bad writing. Speaking of bad writing, we have, the end of the chapter where the game ends because Goggle Girl and Anonymous cheat by turning the plane upside down, causing the board itself to flip, meaning the more money gets sent to Goggles Girl during their turn, which then causes them to win. And, Baghead Girl dies in her arms or really logs off. And that's it. That's the end of the chapter. Yes, so I hope this ends soon, because we were kind of hinted that this is going to be a big team up between Anonymous and Goggle Girl back in their old chapter, which was dumb already. So now we're going into this, and hopefully this is all we're going to get from them, because, God, that was dumb. God, I don't like it. Again, I do the bad thing and I read the comments and someone's like, "Oh wow, Goggle Girl is the real main character." I'm like, no, she's not. She's just a character in this fucking story, thinking she's fucking clever by doing some bullshit in the background to uncleverly solve the problem. Oh, you just flip the entire board, that solves it. No, it doesn't. You're breaking a rule that you don't, and or more, if you're saying there weren't rules established, cool. That means that literally she'd have flipped the boards, pulled things from the other girl's pile and put her on the board and then flipped them and said, "Fuck it, I win." None of this matters. None of this makes sense. This series is stupid. Fuck it. Akane Banashi, chapter 90. Another pretty straightforward chapter this week. This kind of having a little Karashi plug, as well as a little bit more about Asagao and his own little troubles, always kind of being treated like the guy who punched that one dude, and everyone kind of mistreating him and saying, "Oh, you're lesser for it." Hanging out with Karashi and Akane, people who are troublemakers themselves. It shows that Asagao, while he doesn't really have as the same kind of charisma, he is still, bringing together people who will support him, so thus he will support them in turn. This leads to his store, which is the backwards rickshaw, which really works up to the biker aesthetic, which is hilarious coming out of, Asagawa's voice. So I really kind of want to see the rest of that performance, to be honest. It sounds like it'd be really funny. It then ends the chapter with Akane being invited by Asagawa to be his opener for his Tatsume debut, which, she of course accepts because Taizen's going to be there. And with Taizen there, she might lead herself to Tatsume and rise in the ranks herself. So it's a fairly decent little chapter there, and giving more run for Akane being one of the best main characters of Shonen Jump currently. I mean, I love the little bit of her just kind of poking and going, hey, we can get a 100-person venue next time, huh? We can get more people, maybe 200 or 500 or 1,000, and her being shut down, but still poking at it, come on, can't we do it? I really, this has been great. Having a character who is so ambitious themselves is great to follow, and clearly Akane is that style of character, so good on it. Blue Box, Chapter 129. Nationals. It's about nationals, damn it. We're going to nationals. So Shinatsu is cheering on her team, telling them, don't worry about the other teams. We just got to be working harder and getting better and going to nationals. Meanwhile, Taiki is talking to Haru and practicing with Hyodo, and Haruto talking strategy about dealing with badminton, how to get to nationals for badminton, and trying to be a good kohai. Hyodo's little sister gives her crush, Taiki, some training tapes to kind of help him visualize the techniques he's needing to learn and use to defeat guys or smashes like Hyodo's. Then, of course, he passes out, wakes up, and finds Shinatsu there, who then, they both cheer each other on, saying, yeah, we're going to go to nationals. We want to really go to nationals. Ending the chapter. So, this is a good bridge for this arc. We're kind of not really quite montaging it, but we're, going, yeah, we're building up to something big, especially with this talk of hard work has to pay off. It has to, which either leads to them winning and, see, look at all that hard work paying off, or to what's more subversive, though more expected, of them having some kind of defeat, which feels more crushing because they put so much emphasis on having to have won because of all their hard work. And what I'm hoping for is that it's Shinatsu's loss rather than Taiki, because Shinatsu has a lot of things working against her. She has Yumika working for one of the schools, which she's dismissing, don't worry about the other schools, because that's going to pay off, and maybe that school losing and she doesn't get to see them during the fight, or losing to them during the third round like they were anticipating. And then, of course, there's Hyodo's little sister, the Kohai, kind of threatening her relationship with Taiki, saying, hey, how dare you, he's my boyfriend, that kind of thing. So that's sort of what this is leaning to, feels like it is. Blue Box has done me better in the past, though, so, I'm vaguely hopeful it's going to do something surprising, but not necessarily what I'm expecting. Overall, though, going back to the chapter, decent. Good chapter. Witch Watch, Chapter 136. That dragon is drinking in front of the child. Ban her from the house. Alright, so yeah, this chapter involves the new character of Bon the Dragon, a dragon girl who apparently drinks alcohol and thus uses it to power up her dragon breath. A fun character who just wants to live a life of ease, not do much, just lays around the house and, play with a toddler about 4 hours out of the day. Classy stuff. And, clearly a part of this cast, we're introduced to her basic quirks of being sort of abrasive, open, but at the same time, silly, because she can still transform into the dragon, and her, of course, the drinking alcohol to breathe fire is one thing. Though, with a little twist, she can adjust the dragon breath to be super cold as well, which is at the end of the chapter she freezes a tiger in place. So, cute, albeit a little silly. And of course, it culminates in the real ending where she uses her dragon breath to blow dry little toddler Nico's hair out of the shower. Being able to you essentially use three hands, as the joke earlier from the chapter gave out. So overall, fun new addition to the cast. Though I'm going to be honest, maybe she ought to change from whiskey to something else because, hoo boy, I sincerely hope she can also change the smell and odor of her breath because, well, it's convenient that she can blow dry with her breath. A toddler with whiskey hair smell sounds kind of gross and sounds like the FBI should investigate. Sakamoto Days, Chapter 147. And with Shin's courageous actions, one of the bombs is disposed of. Unfortunately for Shin and the gang, the security is immediately jumping on top of them and blaming them for the terrorist activities. They just saved the fucking day, and they're being blamed for the entire thing. Unfortunately, most of the team has now been knocked out, and there's still one of the bomb holders on the run, Toromaru. Unfortunately, Toromaru is now thinking, well, Mafu, you just died when the blast went off. She doesn't know that he's been saved. So she's kind of stressing, going, man, I really shouldn't be here. What was I even thinking? I have a bomb inside me. This sucks. And, of course, the security guards already recognize her immediately from the cameras and decides to, try to grab her. She thinking they're hitting on her. And before they can drag her off, though, they all get knocked out one by one by a wandering Sakamoto. Yeah, he's apparently still been hanging around here and been doing stuff in the background. So the chapter ends with now Toromaru being protected by Sakamoto, possibly brought somebody to get the bomb taken out of her next. So, good chapter overall. We're kind of moving towards the next big event because we've just gotten introduced to Sakamoto again. And we really haven't seen him do much of an action scene yet. We haven't seen him fight anybody. Shin's got his big moment in the last couple of chapters. So we're hopefully going to be seeing Sakamoto doing something. I mean, I don't think we're going to be getting a fight out of Toromaru that's going to be mattering too much. Because, I mean, she's already feeling like lethargic and scared because, she doesn't want to die because of a bomb inside her like she supposes Mafuyu was. But hey, I'm looking forward to whatever bombast is going to happen, because if you ever need rescue, you can always look forward to Sakamoto Days. Undead Unluck, Chapter 187. They say sail unto the sun. I don't think they mean literally. Yeah, so we're back in space again, specifically at the sun. Using Unburn, they're able to reach the surface of the sun, and physicists everywhere just went, what the fuck did you just say? Anyway, they find Andy there. Andy, a charred remain, basically surviving somehow, not being able to regenerate because, fire makes it harder to regenerate, and him being surrounded by a giant gas giant makes it a little harder to fully regenerate. So, to help speed up the process, Fuko shoots him in the head, much to everybody's shock, and tries to communicate with him by, using a Hakuto Shinken technique, when all of a sudden, Change shows up. Change, the opposite of Gina's Unchange, attacks. But before she can really do any major damage, Andy actually stands up and launches an attack of his own. Basically hitting Change and chaining her to him, as well as shooting 5 bullets down towards Earth. Which doesn't feel like a whole lot until you realize he's marking every single one of the other negators they haven't found yet. So now the race is on. Find these other negators, get them to join the Union so they can fight the other of the 10 on the opposite council and save Andy as well as defeat God. So good overall chapter, silly stuff notwithstanding. I mean, seriously, they're walking on the surface of the sun. The sun, notoriously not having a surface, and also its gravity would literally pancake these motherfuckers before they even got to the surface. But regardless, that's what the series is. Just a lot of silly nonsense. Don't worry too much about the physics. My Hero Academia, Chapter 409. Look at what you made him do, All for One. You made Bakugo be polite. Yeah, so this chapter is going to be a short run through because it's a beatdown. There's nothing else to this chapter outside of just Bakugo beating the ever-loving shit out of All for One in the most glorious art I've seen in a while. My God! Just, it starts with the birth of Bakugo and ends with him destroying All for One in this amazing paneling. I do find it hilarious how, now in the Japanese, like, he's clearly saying, like, things like shine and, urusei and all that. So the formatting makes sense. In the English, the words are just like flying off the panels. They're not fitting. It's like, for the obvious emphasis, and I don't care. Formatting be damned. That was insanely good to look at. Just seeing the words coming off right out of the balloon. Felt reminiscent of some older fan scans from back in the way back in the day. Not gonna say anything too loud, but yeah, no, fun like destruction of this character. Not since the 8-page Muda have I seen a beatdown so ridiculously overdrawn and amazing. Beautiful use of the booms and kabooms and so on. And Bakugo just looking all sorts of wrecked afterwards. I swear to God, his arm is broken there at the end. But, either way, All for One is supposedly down, but I'm about 70% sure that he's probably going to do something else, or Shigaraki might try to absorb him and they die together or whatever. Either way, good chapter, fun stuff. Really not much to say, but hooray! Oh, that was so cool. And that's going to do it for this week. A fun collection of penultimate chapters for the year. Now, we only got one more issue of Shonen Jump coming out Christmas Eve of all times, and then it's going to be silence until the new year. So, good chapters were good this week, and the bad chapters were Cypher Academy. A lot of these were introducing new characters that are going to be, leading to bigger story arcs later down the line, so kind of these chapters are promising something big and new for the 2024 year. Now, I am semi-surprised we didn't get a new series, because we're still kind of missing one, it feels like, something to replace the third series that got canceled. However, there's very little chance that we're going to really see that series come out anytime soon, because it's, the end of the year. We have one color issue, and then the next is a double issue, and I don't think we want to introduce a new series on an end of the year issue unless they're insane and they know it's going to be like, breaking records. But regardless, like, favorite, comment, subscribe. If your mother is having a birthday today, maybe you ought to give her a hug and a novelty mug. Bye!